Enjoy your free dinner tonight. It's the Fox and Hounds restaurant. I love it. The famous Fox and Hounds.
Sweet, flaky, and utterly delicious. That's the famous Kringle from O&H Danish Bakery. Guaranteed to get you on the nice list, O&H Danish Bakery can deliver that heavenly goodness right to your doorstep. Now that's a memorable gift where you know you've nailed it. And it arrives fresh in just 2 business days, anywhere within the country. Order online today, ohndanishbakery.com, or come on in to O&H Danish Bakery in Racine, Oak Creek, or Sturnivan and taste the difference of bakery made from scratch.
Are you dreaming of updating the outside of your home? Add a project with J&J Contractors to your Christmas list this year. Family owned and operated since 1983, J&J Contractors specializes in roofing, windows, siding, and doors. Don't wait to start thinking about your exterior. Let them do the work on the outside now so you can enjoy it once spring is here. Schedule your free consultation today. Just Google J&J Contractors or call 414-423-9200. J&J Contractors. Welcome home.
Trusted, relevant, locally owned, locally programmed. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ Milwaukee.
The high of 34 from the WTMJ Breaking News Center. I'm Connie Weber.
It's okay to not be okay right now. And it is okay to reach out for help.
Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes-Conway leading a vigil at the footsteps of the state capitol as the city continues the healing in the wake of Monday's deadly school shooting at Abundant Life Christian School. Mayor Rhodes-Conway says she's been inspired by the coming together of the entire community.
Our community showed up in a big way and is still continuing to show up. And ultimately, that's what gives me hope, that we as a community know how to show up for each other.
3 people dead, including the shooter, while 2 other victims remain in life-threatening condition this morning. The Madison police chief says it's too soon to say what the motive of Monday's school shooter may have been. School shootings are never spontaneous but planned over time. Office of School Safety Executive Director Trish Kilpin tells Wisconsin's Midday News what the difference is between impulsive and planned violence.
There's a difference between impulsive reactive violence and planned and predatory violence. And the impulsive reactive violence is not what we're talking about here. When kids decide to conduct a school shooting, it is planned, it is predatory, and they demonstrate observable signs that others can see. And if they report them, then attacks can be prevented.
Kilpin says anyone who sees obsessive thinking of violence or previous school shootings should let local authorities and school officials know. After 35 years in prison for the shotgun murders of their parents, the Menendez brothers have to be resentenced next month. Their lawyer, Brian Friedman, asking Los Angeles District Attorney Nathan Hochman to speak to more relatives amid concerns the case is being politicized. ABC's Matt Gutman spoke to Friedman.
He should use that time wisely. Meet with the family members. Give them, the family members are victims. They suffered loss. They've also seen the rehabilitation. They are the best people to talk to.
The man indicted in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson could be extradited to New York as soon as tomorrow. Luigi Mangione is being held in Pennsylvania, where he has a court hearing tomorrow and could agree to being sent to New York. Yesterday, the Manhattan District Attorney announced a grand jury indicted Mangione on several charges, including first-degree murder. You're running out of time to get those holiday packages shipped. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis on key deadlines.
For FedEx, you have until the 20th for 2-day, the 23rd for overnight, and you can even do the 24th for same day. And finally, for UPS, you've got your 3-day select and you want to ship. That's what you have to do by the 19th. Second day air by the 20th. Next day air by the 23rd.
Time for some news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow up 135 points. NASDAQ up 2. The S&P 500 is up 4. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth. Annex Private Client. Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:05.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. Better is around the corner in 2025. Feeling better. Getting rid of joint pain once and for all. QC Kinetics patients are able to walk up and down stairs, sleep without pain. Basically, they feel normal again. That can be you. The time is now. Take action to get the pain relief you deserve in 2025. Call QC Kinetics and say goodbye to the shoulder, the knee, or the back pain. QC Kinetics local medical professionals are waiting for you. Regenerative medicine means starting the new year without achy joints. No more pain pills, no steroid shots. The best part, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics today, 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474. Meet their local folks in Greenfield or their clinic in Mequon. I've been there. Great people looking to work with you. And the best part, you can use your FSA dollars. Live the best life in 2025. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
December 31st marked the deadline Congress set for more than 32 million small businesses to submit private and personal data to a new federal registry open to foreign governments and law enforcement without a subpoena or warrant. This unconstitutional law was recently blocked by a federal court, protecting small businesses from facing large fines and even prison. To make this victory permanent, visit nfib.com/protectprivacy and tell Congress to pass the Repealing Big Brother Overreach Act and stop this dangerous law. Paid for by the National Federation of Independent Business.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Bucks have claimed the NBA Cup title. Milwaukee knocked off the Oklahoma City Thunder 97-81 in the NBA Cup Championship in Las Vegas. Giannis had a triple-double with 26 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, and earned NBA Cup MVP honors. Damian Lillard chipped in 23 points to help Milwaukee clinch their second ever NBA Cup. Bucks visit Cleveland on Friday. Packers back to work preparing for the Saints. Green Bay will host New Orleans on Monday Night Football. Packers currently hold the second wild card spot in the NFC at 10-4, a game ahead of Washington and 2 games up on Seattle. Take a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. I-94 west at Mitchell Boulevard. There was a crash there. It was off right. Looks like that has been cleared. No other major delays. Looks like the freeway system is pretty clear this hour. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. It's going to be partly cloudy and 34 today. Mostly cloudy, cooler tonight with a low 21. Then snow likely tomorrow, maybe 1 to 3 inches. Higher totals up north. High tomorrow 33. Same for Friday with a chance for snow in the morning on Friday. Saturday mostly sunny and 25. Sunday mostly sunny with a high of 28. 28 in Madison, 31 in Green Bay, and 31 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Whipper. Sighting Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:09.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
And good morning. Welcome to the Political Power Hour, Wednesday edition. That means public safety. Annie Schwartz in studio. Always great to see you, Annie.
Good morning. Or not. You know what? I kind of like what the chief in Madison said the other day when he got up. And he said, I know you're supposed to start by saying good morning, but how do you say good morning when something awful like this is hanging in the air?
I said the same thing yesterday. I want to say good morning, but it's just morning, not a good morning. And sort of our theme for this first half hour with Annie Schwartz, talking about public safety and certainly what happened in Madison at that school. School shootings, mass shootings are certainly always on people's minds. We have a great guest today, and she's been on the program before. Kate Stock, she's a trauma counselor at Shoreside Therapies, but she has a history with school shootings, specifically in the city of Wauwatosa. Kate Stock's joins us on the hotline. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on again.
Yeah, let's set the scene because people may have recognized your name from the last time you were on the show, but you have direct experience in a school shooting. It goes back to the 90s here in the city of Wauwatosa. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's correct. So I was a senior in high school at Wauwatosa West. I graduated in 1994, and of course that year was when the associate principal, Dale Brightlow, was shot and killed in the school.
Kate, I'm curious, thank you, by the way, for coming on and talking about this. I watch people talk about being involved in a trauma like this, and I say, are we ripping the scab off? But I'm going to guess that this is something that has stayed with you this many years later, that we're not talking about something you don't think about all the time, especially when you see something that happens like what happened in Madison this week.
Yeah, I mean, certainly because it was so long ago, it's not with me every single day, but it certainly was. Anytime you have a experience like that happens during those formative years, your developmental years, it becomes part of your makeup. I mean, sort of your mental health DNA, if you will. So you can't help but always reflect on it and think about it when something else happens and it triggers those thoughts and those memories. However, I understand what you're saying about not wanting to rip the scab or rip the Band-Aid off again, but I think it's important for us to have language for those things, to have transparency, to talk about the things that are difficult to talk about so that they don't have as much control over us and then are not able to control our lives. And, we have more control over it when we can talk about it, when we have language.
That's a really interesting point, Kate. I've not thought of it in that way. One of the things I would ask you is, what are you able to share? What do you think that the children who have been involved in this incident? I know that we're not talking to you about specifics, but what I do want to know is, what are these kids going through? One of the things the media is trying to do right now is to put a face to the story. It's to put a face to the victims. It's to tell people this isn't yet another school shooting that you just can glance at the headlines at and then look at something else. What do you think that the children are experiencing, or if you just want to talk about what you experienced when you were in the school and heard gunshots at school?
Of course. I think that it's difficult. I think you bring up a really good point that people can see the headline and just kind of not write it off, but sort of become immune to it. Like, okay, there's another school shooting. This is what happens in America. However, if we look at each one is very unique. There's different circumstances involved. The one that I was involved in, it was a former student who had a particular he had a particular target of Mr. Brightlow. And in this case, we don't know much. As far as I know, we don't know much about the motivation of the shooter. There was a manifesto, I believe, on the social media that has since been taken down or hasn't really been verified yet. So we're still, the community and the police are still trying to sort out some of that. But each situation is very unique. The important thing, though, is to continue to talk about it. I think what's important about therapy and mental health in general is that when we talk about things, we kind of demystify them, and then they have less control over us. And so, of course, for the shooter involved in this situation, is it something that could have been prevented? We don't know that right now. However, people don't, their behaviors are informed by their thoughts. And when people can have greater control over their thoughts or have that recognition that they have thoughts, but they are not their thoughts, that's where there can be behavioral interventions and things can maybe be prevented. I think for the children at this school in particular, they probably are feeling very, very confused, very unsafe. Kids spend so much time at school. It's their home away from home. And now that's a place that's not safe. However, it sounds like they had drills, how to handle situations and go into a lockdown. It sounds like they did that really well. Those kinds of things weren't in place when I was living my experience at Wauwatosa West in the 90s.
Kate Stocks joining us. She's a trauma counselor at Shoreside Therapies. Think about this question during the break, Kate. I want to bring it back on this one. I get a lot of texts and emails on the show, and one of the texts and emails that I got this week says, as a parent of a child who sends their kid to school, what do you say to your child when they hear about these stories? And in some cases in that school, those children are actually facing those threats live in their schools. We'll ask Kate that question, and she'll answer that question after this on 620 WTMJ.
This is Libby Collins. Join me this week on WTMJ Conversations when we talk with Jeff Moran, the president of the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design.
I remember a soul-crushing moment when I moved into the dorms and talking to one of the fellow students. He's talking about his mom taking him to life drawing at the Met when he was 12. And I'm thinking, I was pumping gas.
WTMJ Conversations, Sunday mornings at 11 on WTMJ.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you might still owe taxes on that money. I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates, and I believe it's your money and you deserve to know what's at stake. At Drake & Associates, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you earned. That's why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. We'd like to offer you our free Retirement Ready Toolkit. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So text TAX to 414-409-9982 today to get your complimentary toolkit. That's TAX to 414-409-9982. You work hard for your money, and we'll work hard for you.
Drake & Associates is an independent investment advisory firm that offers different investment vehicles. All insurance products are backed by the issuing insurance company. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only.
What can happen if you don't have an estate plan?
Your assets may not go to your intended heirs.
Dan Kraus from Kraus Estate Planning and Elder Law Center.
If you're in a second marriage, are you sure that your spouse and your children aren't going to fight over your stuff after you're gone? Loved ones could face financial hardship. The courts may decide on guardianship for your children. You may leave behind nothing because of nursing expenses. I've seen all of these things happen. Don't let them happen to your family.
Contact Kraus Estate Planning and Elder Law Center at estateplanningpeople.com.
The season of giving continues. Join yours truly, Steve Scaffidi, and our WTMJ Street Team Thursday, tomorrow, December 19th, from noon to 2, 12 to 2. Century Foods in Delafield. They're always decorated for the holidays. It's a great place to meet and greet. You can help us on the Capco's Kids and Kids Toy Drive. Bring a new unwrapped gift to donate. I'll be there to accept those. Monetary donations also accepted. Stop by, say hello, and join the street team and yours truly at Century Foods in Delafield on Thursday, December 19th. Kate Stocks is joining us on the hotline here at WTMJ during the Political Power Hour. Annie Schwartz in studio as well. As a trauma counselor, Kate, at Shoreside Therapies, I mentioned the text that I got. It was a text or an email from a parent saying, "What do you say? What do you say to a small children who has heard about this? Maybe on their bus ride to school, or maybe in a conversation in the lunchroom where they go to school. What's the thing that a parent should say after one of these, unfortunately, too frequently happening school shootings?"
Well, I think that there's the disappointing answer is there's not going to be a magic thing that parents can say. However, the powerful thing that parents can do is be open in their communication with their children and have those difficult conversations. Even if there are moments where the parent doesn't know what to say, even saying something like, "I'm not sure how to respond to that, but I know that this is very difficult for you and I'm here for you." Those words can really impact, a child's development and sense of safety. Parents don't have to have all of the answers. We know that children do not come with handbooks. And so raising kids can be difficult. And of course, there are times where parents don't know what they're doing. You don't have to have all the answers, but having open, transparent communication, not being afraid to have those difficult conversations, even if it's uncomfortable, is very important, because then that also models for the children on how they're going to be when they're older and how they handle those conversations too, meaning they know they can get through those difficult conversations.
Kate, I this is my opinion, but it seems like adults have become sort of desensitized to these school shootings, mass shootings in general. Do we run the risk of kids being desensitized to these things because it becomes a part of their regular protocols for safety training, and obviously the mass shooting drills, school shooting drills, the sound of gunshots now they're not comfortable with, but they hear that sometimes as part of these training regimens. Is there that risk? Do we run that risk?
I think that there's, as I was mentioning before, about how children parents can model behaviors for their children, I think that can be true, depending on how those conversations go in the household when things like this come up in the news. There could be flippant comments that come here and there, and yet if they're coming from the parents, certainly the children are going to mimic that as well. So I think how parents handle those situations when it comes up can definitely instill a sense of compassion each time that one of these incidents comes up in the news. And that's really important, is being able to maintain compassion for every situation that comes up.
Kate, you just mentioned, when this is in the news, and I'm as somebody who was a reporter. You remember well, I covered the Wauwatosa West school shooting.
I do.
I was that was a weird circle moment when we figured that out last time, wasn't it?
It was.
And still I still have a lot of regrets about stuffing a microphone in young people's faces. Later, to kind of watch now, how do you feel when you see or what do you think about the media coverage of these incidents? You can even speak about the media coverage of this incident or just in general, because I'm wondering what your criticisms or what your praises might be when you see the coverage of these stories.
Well, certainly one of the praises is that information gets out there quickly. And I do notice that with the media coverage, sometimes there's a focus too much on the shooter and their motivation. Whereas maybe if the focus is a little bit more on everybody else involved in the situation and a recognition that these are children who are experiencing this. To some extent, we don't want them to be too immune, too cynical about, another school shooting. And yet, in this case, because they had done drills, lockdown drills, the students were prepared. Now, I'm imagining that if they aren't able to have that kind of practice, then they might not be able to respond as well. If they didn't have that ability to respond super well to a lockdown situation, could the situation have been worse? Tough to know.
Kate,
but they definitely were prepared.
On the other side of this equation, there are parents who have children who are struggling with some of these issues with self-esteem. Certainly bullying is sometimes brought into the equation when you're talking about school shootings. What are some of the warning signs that parents should be looking for in their own children that suggest, maybe something's not right here? Maybe a conversation with a mental health professional is something we should take part in.
Yeah, I think that anytime that there is sort of a sudden change in the child's mood, presentation, how they're acting around the home, any sudden change in those sorts of things that parents can be clued into can be warning signs. And if the child is kind of resistant to talk to mom or dad or, whoever the guardian or caretaker is, that could be an opportunity to bring the child into a professional to kind of talk through that a little bit. Because then they'll need a safe space, and it's difficult sometimes for kids to even admit that that's happening because immediately they're filled with shame. So any change in behavior or mood, we need to also kind of work on normalizing mental health treatment. You don't have to be going through a crisis to get mental health treatment. It can be something that's just kind of part of general wellness checkups. We go to the doctor for checkups, even if they tell us that everything is okay. And so there's also a lot of different therapy options. People can do virtual therapy, meaning they don't even necessarily have to drive somewhere. So it's always important to just get resources, have conversations. And if the children seem to be resistant to having those conversations, absolutely. A lot of therapists are trained specifically in working with kids. There are a lot of modalities that are really successful and supportive for working with children.
Kate Stock, she's a trauma counselor at Shoreside Therapies. Thanks for sharing your experience. First off, going back to the 90s in Wauwatosa, Tosa West, that shooting. And for your experience, your professional experience, which a lot of people are going to unfortunately have to lean on now. Maybe that's not the right word. Fortunately, we can lean on the professional help that sometimes helps us, get through some of these tragedies. Thanks for your sharing your story, Kate.
Thanks so much for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Kate. We really appreciate your perspective. It's unique from a lot of others that are out there. We appreciate you sharing it.
Thank you. Anytime.
We'll take a quick break, wrap it up with Andy Schwartz before County Executive Josh Schoeman joins us at the bottom of the hour after the bottom of the hour news with Connie Weber. That's all coming up on the Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
The news you need to know.
In these kind of temperatures, it only takes about 30 minutes for frostbite to set in to exposed skin. Make sure to layer up.
The bitter cold could bring risks to your outdoor plumbing. As temperatures drop, keeping your house safe inside starts outside.
Join Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty every weekday from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m.
It's different weather than usual here, mid-December.
Wacky Wisconsin winter weather.
Yeah.
On Wisconsin's Midday News.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Avon. I love talking about Avon because it changed my life. It can change yours as well. Poor sleep, tossing and turning, restless nights in bed, waking your partner, bothering your partner when they should be sleeping. I went to Avon and I did something about it. Quick 30-minute visit. Talked to their docs. They put me at ease. We added a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. Determined my problem, and it's different for everybody. Different problems, different solutions, but it's a common one. Sinuses and nasal passages, also called your breathing triangle. After a short procedure done in one of their great offices, back to breathing better than ever. My wife and I sleeping through the whole night, just like last night. If you struggle like I did, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hard-working partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Don't you just love a big holiday meal? Honey glazed ham, roasted potatoes, savory stuffing, and Grandma's homemade gingerbread cookies. I tell you, all that food can really plug you up. Your plumbing, that is. 'Tis the season for shoving a feast worth of leftover ingredients down the kitchen drain. Your pipes prefer that you throw bones, coffee grounds, eggshells, potato peels, and grease into the trash instead. Otherwise, these icky remnants bond together to grinch up your plumbing and cause all that water to back up into your holiday get-together. So, if Santa brings you a clogged drain for Christmas, call Mr. Holland's Home Services. Mr. Holland's Hydroblast technology will bomb that blockage back to the North Pole. Soon, your family will be singing, "Let it flow, let it flow, let it flow." 866-992-1717 or visit MrHollandsHomeservices.com. Ready to flush away that holiday stress? We can help.
Annie Schwartz in studio, as she often is on Wednesdays in the Political Power Hour. Public safety is usually our subject matter. Annie, great interview with Kate Stocks. It's someone who's obviously lived that experience, but also can help people deal with that experience.
You know, that's the thing, Steve, is that you will see, I mean, how many experts, I made the air quotes, which I try not to do. How many experts are we seeing all over the news right now who are talking about this case, whether it is, psychologists or former FBI or retired law enforcement or somebody who owns a security company? That's fine. Those are all perspectives. But to me, what I'm glad that we were able to bring today is someone who was a child in the classroom when she heard gunshots outside of her classroom. And that experience, she has told me, led her to become a therapist. That's what drove her to be a trauma therapist. And so I appreciate her viewpoint because as much as I've consumed on this story, I've really not seen that aspect of it. And I'm grateful to Kate for coming on and talking to us about it.
And I'm grateful for you for being on as you are most Wednesdays. We'll take a couple weeks off now for the Christmas and New Year holidays. You'll be back in the new year. And I want to do a segment of the show, only got a few seconds left, on public safety side of this question. What do schools and how do they work well with public safety to sort of reduce the likelihood of these things happening? Annie Schwartz, always great to see you. Have a great holiday season.
Thank you very much. I hope after the first of the year, maybe we're talking about all those police officers in the schools.
ABC News is next.
The Federal Reserve wrapping up its last meeting of the year, expected to lower interest rates by a quarter point this afternoon. Could automakers Nissan and Honda be getting ready to merge? They say they're in talks about collaboration in some way. Here's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis.
Both automakers have been struggling in recent years, and they've seen weak sales, and the partnership could strengthen. But there are no specifics yet on what this is going to mean for jobs. Keep in mind, though, even though these are Japanese automakers, they do have plants here in the U.S. Nissan has factories in Tennessee and Mississippi, and one of the largest for Nissan is in Ohio.
The suspect in the killing of healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York 2 weeks ago now facing an 11-count indictment that includes charges of first-degree murder and terrorism. It's crunch time if you're hoping to get a package out by Christmas. If you are shipping through first-class postage with the post office, today is the deadline if you want it to arrive by Christmas. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:31, I'm Connie Weber. A bank robber on the loose after hitting the Port Washington State Bank in Cedarburg. Police say he jumped the teller's window Monday, got into the cash drawer. There were no customers inside the bank at the time of the robbery, and no bank employees were injured. Bank resumed normal operations yesterday. A 43-year-old woman facing federal charges of arson and wire fraud for allegedly burning down her own restaurant for the insurance money. Arletta Allen accused of setting fire to a family affair soul food kitchen on Main Street in Fond du Lac in October, then tried to claim the losses with Germantown Mutual Insurance Company. A 31-year-old Jefferson man is going to prison for 2 years for making explosive devices. James Morgan created 6 homemade grenades, explosive powder, and nails. Police found them in Morgan's travel trailer after he admitted to making them with his dad. The investigation also revealed he had a history of posting racist and anti-government sentiments on social media. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Dow up 155 points, 43,604. NASDAQ up 20 at 20,129. S&P 500 is up 9 points at 6,060. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. No major delays to report this hour. Looks like I-94 westbound, the Zoo interchange to Highway 16 and back, about an 11-minute drive. 41 southbound, it looks like we are about, or rather 43 southbound, downtown to Layton, about a 7-minute drive this morning. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy and 34 today. Cloudy, cooler tonight with an overnight low of 21. Then snow likely tomorrow. 1 to 3 inches possible at a high of 33. That snow could stick around through Friday morning. Just a chance for snow in the morning. Then partly cloudy Friday with a high 33 again. Mostly sunny and 25 Saturday. Sunny and 28 on Sunday. It's 28 in Madison, 31 in Green Bay, 32 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:33.
Our goal is to provide patients with the strongest, most effective, and safest options in this exciting field of regenerative medicine.
Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
The idea that you can avoid a joint replacement is very exciting.
And that's from a surgeon who's done thousands of joint replacements, but who now believes there's a better way.
Regenerative medicine, as we understand it today, gives lasting pain relief, improved function, without surgery, without drugs.
Under Dr. Scheinkup's leadership, QC Kinetics medical professionals treat patients every day with the most advanced protocols in natural biologics. Literally tens of thousands of people all over America.
I've been doing research on regenerative medicine for 2 decades. This is the future of medicine.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Just like most cars and trucks can't run without oil, no person can function without food. That's why through March 1st, the Auto Dealers of Metro Milwaukee is contributing $1 from every oil change to Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. Every dollar provides 3 healthy meals. Over the past 14 years, Adam has provided more than 2.6 million meals to people in southeast Wisconsin. And now the need is greater than ever. Find a participating Adam dealer near you at adamm.com.
Driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal, and a law enforcement officer can tell if you're driving high. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI. Paid for by NHTSA.
They told me, a newborn from king to sea.
Hey, if you're out and about tonight, you can join yours truly and Kristen Brian and Noonan at the Broken Bat Brewery, Wednesday, December 18th. That's today, 7 to 9. I'll be there a little bit earlier. Say hi. You want to take a selfie? I'm more than happy to do that. If you have a medical provider ID, if you're a nurse or a doc or just work in a health facility, I'll buy you a drink for you. So join us tonight. You can win gift cards to Broken Bat Brewery, to Wiffle Ball gift cards, and a case of beer. Those are the prizes, first, second, and third. There's some gift cards in there as well. Bring a toy. Come ready to donate to your favorite shows. This one, Political Power Hour, or Spanning the State. Support local kids making their holiday and Christmas brighter. Can't make it? You can text the word KAPCO, K-A-P-C-O, the Kids Toy Drive to the WTMJ Talk and text line 855-616-1620. And as we welcome in my regular monthly guest, Washington County Executive Josh Shulman, he brought some unwrapped toys, so thanks to you and Fran for doing that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry
That's
Christmas.
an awesome thing you do, so we're happy to help you do it.
KAPCO has partnered with us for years, at least the time I've been here at WTMJ, and it's I think it's an easy one, right? You want to make every kid have that experience that probably all of us had on Christmas Day and Christmas morning, Christmas night, however you celebrate, or through the holiday season, to put a smile on their face, especially in terms of some of the stories that we have to talk about and report in the news every day.
What a great way to love your neighbor, and KAPCO's just an awesome community member for
they
our
are
region.
a great partner here at WTMJ, and I always enjoy working with them. All right, a couple things. Let's do a fun one first, because we've been talking about this Uniquely Wisconsin show for a while.
Yes.
You guys were explain to people how you were part of this.
Yeah. So I'm an executive producer.
Look at you.
I know. So what happened?
How much does the executive producer pay, I wonder?
It's $0, and it's tripling next year. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's still zero if my math is right.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's a fun project. It's a project with Discover Media Works. You'll probably recognize the name Discover Wisconsin. That's their golden brand that started 30 some years ago, but Uniquely is a spinoff of that, where Discover Wisconsin tells the stories of beds, heads, and water slides, the attractions for Oak Creek and everywhere else. Uniquely Wisconsin is about the people. So it's kind of the behind-the-scenes look at what makes communities great, or what makes those places that Discover talks about great. And so it's a lot of fun. They're heartwarming stories, and they are now 2-time Emmy Award winning.
Where do the Emmys reside?
Well, there's one in my office, and the second I hope is on the way. But there's Discover, of course, has the one that's handed out that night.
Have you ever posted a picture of the Emmys in your office?
I think I have a tweet somewhere.
Send me that picture sometime.
Okay. All right.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Since the holiday season, we're just talking about KAPCO's Kids Toy Drive. You guys do something up in your neck of the woods, the West Bend, called Enchantment in the Park.
We do.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's the Rotary Clubs of Washington County and Menominee Falls, and they host over 1 million light show in Regner Park, downtown West Bend. You can go there. They ask for a monetary donation. You can go to their website and check that out, or perishable food items. So they raise a lot of money, and they raise a lot of food for our food pantries and the people in need in our county. And you get to see an awesome light show that changes each year. They add new things, and then they have a little hut where this year I think the nonprofit kind of doing all of that is Casa Guadalupe, if I'm not mistaken, helping with outreach to our Hispanic community predominantly. And they raise some money, and you can stop and have cocoa and see Santa and do all the fun Christmas holiday season stuff.
If my notes are correct, you can find out more. Visit enchantmentpark.org.
There you go.
I love the holiday stuff. My wife and I like to try to make the rounds of all the light shows, and there's a great one in Franklin and Greendale at the Rock. They always do a great light show.
And KAPCO, I think, right?
And KAPCO does theirs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a break here. I want to spend some time on the next one, because you wrote an op-ed about Act 10, implications not only for your county, but for the state of Wisconsin. We all know about Act 10, all the drama that happened when that was all being discussed and voted on and finalized. But there's some recent news about what might happen with Act 10 involving the Wisconsin Supreme Court and a recent ruling in Dane County. We'll discuss that with Washington County Executive Josh Shulman right here in the Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
If you're seeking Lake Country's finest, don't miss out on the Westerly opening this spring. Whether it's active fitness, enjoying a swim in the indoor pool, improving your handicap using our golf simulator, or hosting guests on our rooftop patio, the Westerly has you covered. Providing seniors with award-winning residences throughout Wisconsin, this locally owned and operated company is engaged and offers unmatched services. Apartment reservations are booking quickly. Call Stacy at 262-737-5501 or visit livingwesterly.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Heiser Automotive. Yes, I love talking about Heiser. I have been their great partner along with WTMJ for, God, it must be 5 or 6 years now. I'm driving right now a 2023 Chevy Silverado. My buddy Ken just asked me about it yesterday. Love this thing. Glacier metallic blue. I'm a Ford guy, but you know what? I love driving the Chevy trucks. They're comfortable. This ride's amazing. I'll be taking it up to the Packers game on Monday nights. Low mileage, you can actually buy it right out from underneath me. Just go to Heiser.com, check out the 2023 Chevy Silverado 1500 LT. Towing capacity is great. Great gas mileage. Last time I went up to Green Bay, I was like 31, 32 for a truck. Pretty cool. Find out about all their pre-owned and new vehicles at Heiser.com or just visit one of their 5 great locations. And it's not just about buying a car. It's body shop work. It's just regular car service, vehicle service. Ask them when you go there because they're the best at customer service about their great programs. Vehicle exchange, love it or exchange it, right? If you don't like the vehicle you bought. Roadside assistance for life, keeping you safe on our roadways. Safe and Sound program. Just ask them about it. They'll love to tell you about it. But that's part of the reason why Heiser says every day, today's your day.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. You can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Siding Unlimited named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited. 3-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Sick of campaign ads? I bet. But Racine County needs you at the polls on December 19th to vote for Ralph Malicki for county executive. Ralph stands for fiscal responsibility, collaboration, and economic development. Exactly the leadership Racine County needs to build for tomorrow. The South Shore Realtors Association supports Ralph Malicki. So should you. On December 19th, it's time to be picky. Vote for Ralph Malicki. Paid for by the Wisconsin Realtors Political Fund. Not authorized by any candidate, candidate's agent, or committee.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. So I was looking at some of the bushes that have overgrown on my property, and I love our yard, but I need dormant pruning. That's what takes place during the winter when it's safe to cut back things so you have healthier trees and bushes around your house. Check right now to see if you've got stuff scraping against the siding or needs to be cut back, and schedule it now. Design Build landscaping projects are a year-round topic. Landworks Wisconsin does it the right way every time. They help people achieve their outdoor dreams by creating beautiful landscapes. I love these guys. LandworksWisconsin.com. Check them out today.
Jazz did there. Gave you a little different.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of Emmy Award winning.
Yeah, there we go. Don't blow her head up too much. All right. This is a serious topic because I think it matters to a lot of people in Wisconsin, and that's Act 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big deal.
You wrote an op-ed. Where was that at? Right now?
Wisconsin right now, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Talking about the decision, one, to implement Act 10 many years ago, and as somebody who ran a city and understood the importance of that act from managing fiscal budgets in communities, large and small. It gave the electeds control of their own budget, and it didn't allow costs to just run away, in some cases, crazy.
Yep.
It restored some sanity to the process. Well, recently, court decisions are now moving all the way to the Wisconsin Supreme Court that could overturn or some ways modify Act 10. Give me the sort of the infrastructure that is part of your Act 10 argument.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I think politicians conflate how important we are and make it seem more complicated than it really is. At the end of the day, when expenses are out of control and you're in a tough financial situation, which we were, if you remember, 2010 was brutal, 2008, 9, and 10. But at that time, you have two choices. You can go get another job or try to get a huge raise and, crank the money up that your income in your house, or you can cut back on the cable and the cigarettes or whatever devices you have in your life. And it's not any different for all the rest for government. And so obviously during Act 10, that was, reeling back on a number of the controls that unions had predominantly, and the expenses there too. So for us in Richfield, which is where I was at the time, it was obviously, like everybody, it was a huge shock to the system. It's a massive change, but it really put the power back in the hands of the elected officials, who are the representatives of the people. And I mean, it was a savings tool. Governor Walker talked about it all the time as a tool. And it has been that for over a decade, and to even contemplate losing that tool in the toolbox is unfathomable.
One of the things the arguments you make, and I've heard this for a long time, is Act 10 hurts public employees, but you argued in your op-ed that the opposite is true.
Yeah, 100%, because, and here's the reason. I lived it myself. I was a public employee when it happened. I took that hit along with all the rest of the public employees. But here's the thing. It allowed for a future where there was a potential for raises, where there was a potential to control health insurance costs. I just saw an interview with a superintendent where the cost of a family plan was, I believe, over $23,000 pre-Act 10, and today it's about the same. I mean, 13 years later, that's unheard of. That allows for all kinds of additional resources, whether it's police officers in the classroom, everywhere throughout public service. So, Act 10, it's absolutely been controversial. We all know it. We've all lived through that. But at the end of the day, it's real dollars and cents that if it's truly unconstitutional, that means it's never been constitutional. It goes all the way back to 2011. The annualized impact just in retirement alone in Washington County is $3.6 million per year. If you go back for the last 13 years, it probably is a liability of over $35 million for our county just in retirement, not even talking about health insurance and all the other components.
If the Wisconsin Supreme Court overturns some or all of Act 10,
yeah,
short-term impact on local communities, counties in the state of Wisconsin would be what exactly?
Well, let's put it this way. What's the impact on a taxpayer? We spent a lot of time in the last year talking about shared revenue, okay? Biggest revenue reform we've seen in a generation. For Washington County, that meant $1.2 million. Real money. This is just retirement alone. This is 3 times that, okay? So what does that mean for a taxpayer in Washington County? Now, that's one portion of your 5 different districts on your tax bill. It's 10 times the size of what I'm allowed to increase a levy in 1 year. I mean, in the middle of inflation that we've got, the shaky economy that we're still living with, people who just voted in November with inflation in the economy at the top 3 of their lists, I can't even begin to imagine what that would do to families across Wisconsin.
I made the argument at the time, Act 10, the reason I supported it is because, and you mentioned in your op-ed, I hate duplication of efforts, and I hate the phrase or the term, that's how we always did it. It absolutely drove me nuts back in 2012 to 2017, and I hate to hear people say it now, and they still say it. It's not productive. It's not efficient. And if understanding taxpayers, they want their government to be efficient. That's the message that people sent in the last presidential election.
Yeah,
we want our government, DOGE. Yeah. We want our government to be more efficient.
Yep.
And that includes at the state level.
That's right.
If Act 10 did anything, it sort of gave that power back to be efficient, to understand doing things willy-nilly because you like to do them that way is not a good way to run your government.
Here's how you know everything you said is 100% true. What have we heard from leaders on the other side of the aisle who historically have been against Act 10? Crickets. There's nothing, because they know if this thing gets overturned the way that the Dane County judge overturned it, we are all in deep, deep, deep trouble. And it's not as if, counties like Milwaukee or cities like Madison, who just had a massive referendum, the county and the city here, of course, had the new sales tax. It's not as if they're not already in enough of a financial pinch. That happens. It's cataclysmic for their organization, not to mention their taxpayers. So, I mean, here's the thing. What it has done in Washington County, what it did when I was school board president at Hartford Union High School, I have been able to reward merit. Our best employees get paid higher. Our best people, we just gave our budget repair build. It was another 1% increase for employees. We are competing now with some of the private sector entities.
I want to explore that in a little more detail because that's another thing I love about it. You can reward people that are high achievers and not just hand out money because that's what it says.
Yes, we've got a lot of good public servants and they deserve it.
Yeah. Washington County Executive Josh Shulman joining us in studio. We'll wrap it up on the Political Power Hour Wednesday edition after this on 620 WTMJ.
Dr. Ken's mind is fine as aged wine, let me tell you.
Hey! This is The Truth on WTMJ.
The response to the killing of Brian Thompson on social media has not been sympathetic whatsoever.
With Dr. Ken Harris and Denise Thomas.
If the Trump administration comes in, we've heard Republicans already talking about getting rid of that bureau. So who fights for the little people in America?
Sunday night starting at 7.
262, you keep sending it.
Right here on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Universal Windows Direct. It's holiday season. We all know that. It's time for family, friends, staying warm inside your home. But if your home is drafty, which is not a good thing, it's hard to stay comfortable. And with all the gift giving happening this time of year, why don't you give yourself the gift of lower energy bills with new windows from Universal Windows Direct? I'll give you the number a couple times. 414-410-2000. My wife, Kathy, says I read the number too fast. 414-410-2000. Schedule your free in-home estimate today. For every 2 windows you buy, 2 free, 4, you get it, right? And if you need it, 0% financing for 60 months for the last windows you'll ever need. Call 414-410-2000 or go to uwd.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all.
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 Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
One call, that's all.
$1 doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
We've seen that sleep apnea bully stop breathing more than 100 times an hour. But this problem is solvable, and Advent has simple solutions that have been proven to be extremely effective.
Debbie Loziga here for Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel this holiday season, turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer, providing care for life. This month only, get 0 interest financing for 12 months and a free shower door with your Luckstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote, with fast professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Of a white. Oh, one of my favorite Christmas songs. I love this.
This is my favorite Christmas movie. Did you know?
We're learning a lot about Washington County Executive Josh Shulman today. He's a good guy.
He's creeping me on social media or something.
Yeah, maybe. Mr. Jazz is following you, ghosting you on social media. I wanted to just get this in because this is one of the reasons that I supported Act 10 is I'm not a fan of automatic raises just because you can hand out raises. It's a good way to lose control of your budget first. And I love to reward people that are high performers.
Couldn't agree more.
Merit-based pay is sort of the way this country has worked forever.
Absolutely. Look, listen, I've had this conversation. I have town hall meetings usually twice a year with employees in the county. And I've had this conversation many, many, many times with them, especially as we implemented our new pay plan, which is merit-based.
Yeah.
And I said to them, I said, look, the days of pay for pulse, as I call it, we put a mirror in front of your mouth, and if it fogs up, you get a raise.
Pay for having a pulse. Yeah.
Yes. Those days are gone. Like, we're not interested. What we want to do is empower you. Okay. If you ever read the book Drive by Daniel Pink, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, drive people to achieve more and become better. And if that means they're going to go to a different organization and go to the next level, God bless them. Like, that's what we want. We want people to grow in our organization. We want them to succeed. And when you create an environment like that, people thrive and your organization thrives. It's really difficult to do that when everyone is treated identically. And the bad employee gets exactly the same thing as a good employee. What's the incentive to do good work then? The old system is problematic, and the new one, our organization and our community are thriving because of it.
I know you mentioned a upcoming Supreme Court race, Wisconsin Supreme Court, and an endorsement of Brad Schimmel. Tell me about why you think Brad Schimmel's the right choice there.
Listen, I mean, this conversation right here, if there was any doubt before, I mean, first of all, he was a phenomenal attorney general. He's been a great judge in Waukesha County. He was a great district attorney. The guy's been boots on the ground. He's a fabulous guy and a wonderful musician, turns out.
I've seen him play.
But at the end of the day, if there was any doubt for any other reason, this Act 10 decision is likely to come to that new Supreme Court, and he will more than likely be the deciding voice. I mean, if you care about your tax bill, if you care about fairness and having good public servants who are rewarded, I'm a big believer in small and effective government. And the way you have that is have good, quality, dedicated public servants who are working their tails off each and every day. They should be rewarded for that. He's the man, and he's going to do it, and I'm confident he's going to win. He's got my full endorsement.
Washington County Executive Josh Shulman, always appreciate your visits. We'll do it again in January. Best of the holiday season to you and your family. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Fran,
Merry
you as
Christmas.
Well. And thanks for the unwrapped toys for Capco's Kids and Kids Toy Drive. I really appreciate that.
And if you don't mind, like, just end by saying I'm sending my prayers and have been in continued communication with a lot of my friends over in Madison and Dane County. We love you guys.
Appreciate that sentiment as well. We'll go to the news here at the top, and then, of course, the upswing with Jeff Sherman. All coming up. You know where we're at, 620 WTMJ.
And that's the best thing about Capital's Furnace Beyondification.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Hey, Merle, what you got? What's this? A screenplay?
Let me see this. Captain Capital, Heat and Air Hero.
That's so awesome, Merle.
Hang on. I've been writing a screenplay like this.
For years.
It's an epic, and it's Capital Man, not Captain Capital. Yes, of course he restores your furnace to like new condition.
Says here, Captain Capital has a deep clean device.
Aha! Capital Man deep cleans your system with his laser beam hands.
What?
I'm developing a sidekick. He always does the comprehensive safety checks. You wrote yourself in as the sidekick?
As long as it gets across how Capital's Furnace Beyondification saves the day.
And how you want to do it before winter hits.
Well, that's the whole point.
That's what I'm saying.
Then it's great.
Laura, Seth, I need a moment with Merle, please.
Schedule your Furnace Beyondification today at callcapitalcares.com.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
Patrick and Monica initially chose a bank to get pre-approved and provide financing for the